Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Encore Learning annual meeting of members. And we thank you for voting for the new slate of officers who will transition into their roles in the new fiscal year, which for us begins on July the 1st. I am Tom Adams, and I'm past president, and I'm chairing this annual meeting at the request of Mildred Patterson, our current president, who is traveling and may not be able to connect today. On the screen, you'll see today's agenda, and you will note that there is opportunity for questions at the end. But first, I want to make a very special announcement. I'm pleased to share that the Encore Learning Board of Directors on May 5th unanimously appointed Marilyn Martin to be Encore Learning President, effective July 1, 2023, to complete the remaining term of our President, Barbara Spangler, who passed away in March. But right now, let me turn this over to Dick Junke, who served as the chair of the nominations committee. He will announce the results of our election for committee chairs and the open officer positions. Over to you, Dick.
Thank you, Tom. We have received 228 absentee ballots representing 25% of our membership, more than sufficient for a valid election and conducting this meeting. I'd like to express my appreciation to my fellow members of the nominating committee, Julie Gentry, Ellen Marcus, Ed Rader, and Kathy Sheehan for all their hard work. We all thank those current board members who agreed to continue to serve, and we believe we've recruited a terrific group of new board members as well. Before presenting the election results, let me explain why the presidency was not on the ballot and why Marilyn Martin, who will be our president, was on the ballot for vice president. It's partly a function of our bylaws and partly a happenstance of timing. First, under our bylaws, when a vacancy on the board occurs, it is up to the board of directors to fill the vacancy for the remainder of that person's term, even when, as in this case, the vacancy occurred during the first year of a 2-year term. Second, the nominating committee had assembled its slate of candidates, including Marilyn as vice president, before the sad death of Barbara Spangler, and timing requirements in the bylaws required our slate to be distributed before the board met and appointed Marilyn to fill the presidency for the coming year. After the new board takes office on July 1, it can appoint someone for the 2-year vice president slot. 226 of the 228 voting members voted in favor of the entire slate. There was one abstention and one ballot that withheld voting for one nominee. And now let me announce the newly elected officers, chairs, and co-chairs. Marilyn Martin, vice president. Steve Shapiro, treasurer. Joan Carter, secretary. Jeannie Labella and Deborah Spiro, co-chairs of academic programs. Gail Massot and Carol Fuller, co-chairs of the Class AIDS Committee. David Briggs, chair of the Community Advisory Board. Marty Saddam and Richard Rubin, co-chairs of Information Technology. Jean Falvey, chair of Membership Committee. Chris McLaughlin, chair of the Special Events Committee. Ann Kaup and Bill Riley, co-chairs of the Publications Committee, and Sandra Borden, chair of the Volunteer Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. My thanks to you, Dick, and to your committee for doing this very important task, so important to our renewal every year. I know that you and the committee members spent a lot of time on this, and you consulted widely to make sure we got the best possible board candidates. I also want to speak for the entire board of directors in thanking Marilyn Martin for stepping up to fulfill the vacant term of president. We know it's difficult to meet the leadership virtually, so we invited the new board members to provide a quick introduction of themselves. So sit back and meet the new board members.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carol Fuller, and I'm looking forward to becoming the co-chair of the Class Aid Committee. I've been a member of Encore Learning for about maybe 10 years now, doing 2 to 8 classes a year. And I am looking forward to sharing some of the experiences that I've had, because during COVID, I became very adept with Zoom and also running hybrid meetings. So I have been running the hybrid meetings as Class Aid for Dan Sherman's film courses now for over a year. And we've learned a lot of lessons with that, which I would like to share with other Class Aids. So I'm looking forward to working with Gail Massat, who is the experienced co-chair, and meeting all of you. Thank you.
Good day, I'm David Briggs and have been participating in Encore Learning's offerings since my retirement from my law practice in 2017. I found its offerings enlightening and informative, and especially enjoyed Dan Sherman's courses, those taught by Vern Vance, and most recently, the offered course in electric vehicles. When approached about taking over from Chris Milliken as chair of the Community Advisory Council, I saw this as a daunting task. But having spoken with Chris and then with Barbara Spangler before our untimely passing, Jack Royer, and then Laura, I started to see how my diverse experiences in the community might be helpful to Encore Learning in reimagining the council's role within Encore Learning's portfolio. Now that Encore Learning is reaching with its course offerings beyond Arlington, I think it's time to look at the council as a vehicle to be an ambassador. The council's present membership is heavily weighted with present and former elected officials. I will be suggesting ways that might be considered to diversify the council's membership, including bringing in representatives from our ethnic, nonprofit, and business sectors. With a diversified membership, it would be my hope that the council will be able to enhance and elevate Encore Learning's place within its learning community. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jean Falvey. I look forward to serving as the chair of the membership committee. And I've been a member of Encore Learning since 2019 after a long career in real estate development and nonprofit management and fundraising. One of the things that I learned in college is that I really like to learn. And so when I graduated, I promised myself that I was going to continue taking classes and going on field trips and things like that for the rest of my life. And Encore Learning has made that very easy, affordable, and enormously enriching. So I applaud all of you for doing that. And I want to engage more people in the Encore Learning community with you and by serving on the membership committee. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
I am Bill Ryle, and I have been nominated to co-chair the Publications Committee. I'm a former journalist, and my involvement with Encore Learning goes back to, some of you may know her, Becky Reddick. Becky and I worked together until 2011, and I moved on to another job, and she did likewise. But she involved me in copy editing. And so I've copy edited or proofed many catalogs. After working with Becky as the managing editor, I worked with Carolyn Gosling, and then with Millie Lawson and Jill Newville, and most recently with Millie and Ann Kaup. So I believe fervently in lifelong adult learning. I've always enjoyed being in the classroom, from elementary school on, and I look forward to working with all of you and contributing to an organization which I believe in and want to promote and ensure it is available for many years to come.
Hello, I'm Sandra Borden, and I look forward to being the chair of the volunteer committee. And I have been with Encore Learning for 10 years and have enjoyed every minute of it. I'm an eclectic learner. I like all different types of classes. But the biggest benefit I've discovered about Encore Learning was how much fun I've had and the new friendships I've made with such talented people. I'm looking forward to working with everybody and bringing everybody else in, and so they can enjoy those same experiences. I especially enjoyed 3 international trips I took with the Encore Learning Travel Club. We went to Turkey, Italy, Spain. We just had a ball. And so I look forward to meeting you all and getting you involved, and I hope we all learn and have fun together. Have a great day.
Thank you. My congratulations to all 5 of you, the new board members. Congratulations and thanks for volunteering to do this. I hope Dick didn't have to twist your arms too hard. So thanks again. You're going to hear from our incoming president in just a few minutes. But first, I wanted to give you an update on the health of the organization and make some asks of you. But first, I'm going to see if Laura could bring in our current president, Mildred, from afar, if that's possible, just to say hi.
Let's see.
It's Mark Grossman.
Yes, let's see if we can bring her in.
While we're getting her, let me just say on behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank her for serving as president for the past few months following the passing of Barb. She has worked very hard and done a terrific job of managing the work of the board during this period. We owe her a great deal of gratitude for this.
Mildred, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Laura. I have an ocean in back of me. It's kind of hard to hear you, and I'm not sure you can see me.
We can hear you.
Yep.
Thank you, Tom, for your thoughts. I appreciate it. It's been an honor to serve Encore Learning as acting president these months in this sad time.
I can tell one quick story. When the board really wanted to thank Dick Junkie, find some way of thanking him, and I asked Dick, told Dick this, and he said, "Oh, I've already been thanked." Mildred dropped off at my home the best banana nut cake I've ever had. So that's just an example of how she goes a little bit beyond what I ever did when I was president. So thank you. Okay, we've come through another year of balancing our activities in the face of COVID, which seems to be receding. And we continue to stand strong. We come through this better than some of our sister organizations. But for us to continue to thrive and be able to offer a large variety of popular courses, we need to increase our membership from our current 920 paid members to over 1,000 over the next year. We could easily do this if each of you would go out and recruit 1 new member. And the best time to do this will be near the end of the summer when our fall course list is published. And you'll hear about that in a little while, but it's a great lineup of classes which will help sell the organization. Our most successful recruitment member always has been this word of mouth. We are trying other things and have had some success, but please reach out to your friends and neighbors and tell them of the benefits of joining Encore Learning, both the learning and the socialization. This is my first ask of you. Our 20th anniversary celebration in September was fantastic. We are again grateful to Mildred Patterson, who managed that in her role as vice president, and her committee of 10 volunteers who planned a wonderful gathering to reminisce and share some laughs. And going forward, we want to have more in-person gatherings if we can. Let me give you a few statistics from our successful fall and spring semesters for the current fiscal year ending. We had 2,181 course registrations for a total of 72 classes. Our most popular course, Global Hotspots, was offered for the 19th time and had 216 registrants. This would have been virtually impossible before we went virtual. We offered 2 hybrid courses this semester. Marty helped set that up and are working to increase this format when it is feasible. We recognize that some of you prefer in-person and some prefer virtual. So we're working to try to bring you both options. And we love reading the course feedback you provide at the end of each course. Comments from this feedback indicate that members appreciate the lively class discussions, breadth of instructor knowledge, and interaction with other Encore Learning. If keep those comments coming. And if you really want to help shape our courses, please join the Academic Programs Committee. I happen to be a member of that committee, one of the lesser members, but we need greater members, and you could be one of those. The Academic Programs Committee, co-chaired by Jean Labella and Deborah Spiro, have once again done an excellent job this year, and you're going to hear from them again in a moment. Another highlight of this year was the rich variety of special events, tours and talks. So far, we've had 19 tours for members that included virtual museum and cultural institute tours, as well as outdoor in-person tours. People learn from 17 Encore Learning presents offerings on Monday afternoons during the fiscal year that are free and are open to the public. These ELP events give us an opportunity to hear about timely and historic topics. Those of you in the audience gave us high marks for the talk about Marco Polo, the Silk Roads, and the Great Divergence. I'm grateful for the hard work of the Special Events Committee, chaired by Chris McLaughlin, and she was going to tell us a little more soon. Many of our clubs continue to function, and we appreciate the movie reviews and photos you've shared. As always, we appreciate the work of the club coordinators to make the club activities possible. And finally, I want to give our deep thanks and appreciation to 5 members of the board who will be retiring, and consider this your official retirement party. Kate Matos as Vice President and Membership Chair, and she has energized our membership efforts in that position. Millie Lawson as Co-Chair of the Publications Committee. Millie's been a brick of a volunteer for many, many years. Noreen Quill as Co-Chair of the Class AIDS Committee. Chris Milliken, a longtime Chair of the Community Advisory Council, and Ann Werner, who stepped in to chair the volunteer committee this past year. All 5 of you have made terrific contributions to Encore Learning over many years, and I know you're all going to stay involved in the years to come. I also want to take a minute for us to remember our recently passed president, Barbara Spangler. All of us who are fortunate enough to work with Barb are grateful for that experience. She was instrumental in keeping Encore Learning in a strong position in recent years, and I penned a short article describing her important contributions in this regard, which you can easily find on our website. Just click on Barbara Spangler when you have the trying to find it. My final ask of you is to consider volunteering either again or for the first time. You're going to see a list of those people who have volunteered for a long, spent much time volunteering this year. And you'll say, oh, gee, they have a lot of people. They don't need more. Nope, we need more always. Volunteers carry much of our workload as class aides, board members, committee members, and club coordinators. Volunteering gives you an opportunity to interact with a wide variety of staff, instructors, and other members, which I have found to be both fun and extremely rewarding. And it really helps us keep our costs down so that we remain affordable. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is of all of these continuing education organizations in this area. We are the least expensive. So email us or check our website to learn more about opportunities, or just send an email to info@Encore Learning, and we'll be back in touch with you to see what committees or what you want to do. Class 8 is a great way to start too, I should say. And now we're going to have a short report on Encore Learning's financial position from our great treasurer, Steve Shapiro.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Shapiro, the treasurer for Encore Learning. Sorry, I couldn't be with you today. but I want to give you an update of how we are doing this year and where we project our results for next year. As many of you might remember, a year ago, we indicated that we could end up running a small deficit of about $20,000 because of the expenditures for the 20th anniversary event, as well as some member outreach activities. Fortunately, we believe now that the deficit will only be about $5,000 because of both some increase in our membership and registrations, as well as some donations that came in over the course of the year beyond what we had predicted. For next year, we now indicate, as you'll see in the right-hand column here, we see some growth in both membership and course registration results. We do not assume a repetition of the donations level, although that would be great if that comes in. We do anticipate that we'll have an operating surplus or deficit almost exactly at the break-even point. And then, as I'll discuss in a moment, with some reallocation of our endowment money, we now expect to be able to earn at least $12,000 in investment income this year with the assets that are now been reallocated more toward fixed income. And then at the bottom, you can see as of the beginning of this month, how the financial assets are allocated. Our checking account, which is used for our working capital needs, we opened up an account at Fidelity Investments back in March, which allowed us to have a more specific way of investing our funds and also to be more in compliance with the existing financial guidelines that were set forth in the board bylaws. So we are heavily invested now in government money market and insured CDs, which, as most of you may know, have increased interest rates have really helped us in the last month or two. And we also continue to have funds invested with the Arlington Community Foundation in what they call their balanced portfolio. So in aggregate, our financial assets are somewhere between $450,000 and $500,000. That varies over the course of the year as revenues come in and then expenses are paid out over the individual semesters. So again, we're in solid financial shape. I think we're well positioned to move forward, and I hope we get the great results that we're anticipating for next year. Thank you so much.
Great, and Steve's. Thanks, Steve. You've been a great treasurer. And now we're going to hear from a few committee chairs. We are sparing you reports from all 7 committees because we want this meeting to be short and sweet. Go ahead.
Hello, I am Kate Matos, the outgoing chair of the membership committee, and it's been an honor to serve on the committee. I wanted to report on 3 of our top accomplishments this year. Number 1, we experimented with new ways of using direct email. Last August, we emailed lapsed members and we convinced more than 50 of them to renew. Then we purchased email lists of prospective members. That was inexpensive, and that campaign brought in additional members. Number 2, we drafted new messaging. We freshened up language to focus on Encore Learning's key assets: learning, friendships, and a great price. We use that messaging in email campaigns and other communications. And last, we tried new models for in-person activities with the leadership from one of our committee members. We hosted a program at the Jefferson, in the Jefferson, and we also co-hosted the panel at Lubber Run about living your best retired life. So this experience from these efforts can inform future membership work and efforts to build membership. I close with a special thanks to the fantastic people on the membership committee. I admire their ideas and energy, their wisdom and perspectives. And as longtime volunteers to Encore Learning, they had a talent to sway people to join us. There's nothing better than an invitation from a friend. So invite someone you know. We are the best deal around. Encore Learning is the place to learn new things and make new friends. Thank you and have a great summer.
Right now, we'll get an update from Special Events Chair Chris McLaughlin.
Hi, my name is Chris McLaughlin. I'm the chair of the Encore Learning Special Events Committee. I'm here mainly to thank the committee members for the great job they've done to bring us many interesting events. The committee members include David Tate, Debbie Bremer, Joanne Jones, Louise Kenny, Paula Kaufman is our newest member, Priscilla Becker is probably our most senior member, and Terry Smith. We'd like to have some more people join the committee because it takes a lot of work to find the people who will speak to us and identify the tours that we think are interesting. We have a very comprehensive possibilities list that we work with. We meet once a month to figure out what we want to do next. And that includes both tours and talks. So with that said, if anybody's interested in what's coming up soon, on May 22nd, we are going to learn about women in architecture. In June, we have 2 speakers. The first one on June 5th will talk about how to live a healthier, happier, and longer life in retirement. That may be of interest to some of you. And then on June 26th, the guy who taught the 20s and 30s, the turbulent years this spring, is going to do a talk called Setting the Stage for Trump, Buchanan, Gingrich, and Limbaugh. I think that's going to be interesting. And we'll be working on interesting events throughout the rest of the year and on into the future. So thank you very much for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed some special events and will enjoy more in the future. Take care.
Thanks. We have the co-chairs of the Academic Programs Committee here with us today live, Deborah Spiro and Jean Labella.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the annual meeting. I am one of 2 co-chairs of the Academic Programs Committee, and Jean will be speaking with you in a minute. But I just wanted to mention a little bit about what we do and where we've been. Our mission is very straightforward. We find the instructors and the classes for each semester, but it's a little bit more complicated than it sounds. We are normally in the range of 35 to 40 courses in the fall and in the spring. Right now, we're finishing the spring semester with 38 classes, but we are already wrapping up the planning for the fall, and we'll probably have exactly the same number of classes in the fall. Essentially, we find the instructors or we come up with ideas for the classes. And I can tell you, it's a lot easier when you start with a given instructor than coming up with the idea and then trying to find the instructor, because our instructors are wonderful, but they are doing this in their spare time as volunteers. So we're always looking for instructors. We do spread our classes, and you've seen this in the fall and the spring and next fall, across 6 areas. Because all of these areas are of great interest to our members: fine arts, theater and music, health and wellness, history, law, politics, literature and writing, and science and technology. And I have to say, we have tremendous interest in all of these areas. Sometimes the hardest thing about registration is what classes do you want and how can you get them all in? And of course, we offer a mix of hybrid video, Zoom, in person, or hybrid with both. And as others have said, Thank you, Tom, for the plug. We sure could use more help. It is a lot of work to get this done, and we have a great committee, but we could always use more members. And we need people who will help coordinate classes, or even many of our members have such talent and have had amazing careers. We would love to see more members serve as instructors. So thanks very much. I'm going to turn it over to Jean now.
Thanks, Deb. We also work, our work funnels into two other committees, and I just want to give a shout out to those groups. One is the Publications Committee. They take all the information that we pull together when we're putting together our course lineup for each term and edit materials and produce the marketing materials that you see, the catalog, which is online, and the flyer that typically is mailed out ahead of each term. So we really appreciate their efforts to take what we've put together and to let all the members and prospective members know what's going on. The other committee that is very important, of course, is the Class AIDS Committee. They recruit and train volunteers, members, to help out our instructors, to be a source of support for instructors, you know, in technology, in classroom management, stuff like that. So that's, you know, we obviously couldn't offer these classes if we didn't have the support of all the Class Aids. So thank you to all of our volunteers. And I'll repeat what Deb said. Academic Programs Committee could definitely use more members. It is a big lift. And Tom was only joking when he said he was one of the lesser members. Tom pulled together the Global Hotspots course for our last planning cycle. And as those of you who took it know, it was a fabulous course this spring. If you're interested in volunteering, just send a note to info@encorelearning.net and the word will get back to us or other appropriate committee chairs. Thanks.
You, Deb and Jean, and let me just make one point that came up in some of the reviews of courses. People like the multi-instructor courses. They are a lot of work. Summer in the Parks, Global Hotspots thing. So if we're going to offer those, we need some people to be sort of a course coordinator and more people, because like I say, they're a lot of work. All right, and now that I've teased you for so long, and you've heard about the past year and from specific committees, I'm very honored and pleased to bring in Marilyn Martin, incoming president, who will introduce herself and talk about the year ahead.
Hello to everyone, and you're about to hear from your very new president. I look forward to working with all of you and getting to know all of you a little bit better. But let me tell you a little bit something about myself. I've been a member of Encore Learning since 2015 when I learned about it. Early in my professional career, I was a teacher and I've always valued education. And there was Encore Learning, classes on a wide variety of subjects taught by experts, no papers, no tests. It doesn't get any better than that. But actually it does, because Encore Learning has so much more to offer. Special events, clubs, social events, and the opportunity to volunteer and get to work with people and get to know people. So what do I bring to the table? I have a long career. I've been an attorney. I worked for the federal government. I did a number of things over my career. I'll think of two offhand. I led the effort to develop the random drug testing program for the Department of Transportation. That sounds awful, and yes, it was. We survived the challenges and were able to do it. And one of the things I learned was that if I eat a poppy seed bagel, I could test positive for opioids. Amazing, but you learn so much and continue to learn. We also opened, when I was working for Smithsonian, the Indian Museum up in New York City. That was a joint effort between New York City, New York State, and the federal government. What could possibly go wrong with that? Trust me, just about everything. And that led to my maxim called nothing's easy. And it usually isn't, but you get it done. At Encore Learning, I've been a class aide. I've taken all sorts of classes. I was a class aide for Global Hotspots when it was still in person in the very crowded George Mason Auditorium. I was also the Richard Junkie for a while. I was at the nominating committee. And in fact, I think I recruited Tom and I recruited Barb. And luckily I got to know Art. I certainly know Tom and I knew Barb. And I know that I have very big shoes to fill, and I will endeavor to do that. One other little tidbit about me is in my spare time, I take tap dancing lessons every year, every week. And our tap dance teacher will always say to us when she introduces a brand new routine or a new step, she'll say, well, this is hard, but what do you do it? And our response is always, we don't know. We're gonna try. And I vow to you that I will try to be a very good president for you. What I want to do is to continue with what Barb started. We miss Barb, but she had some wonderful ideas. We want to, obviously, as Tom said, increase membership. We want to be able to continue to grow this very wonderful organization. The balance between hybrid and live classes is something we need to work out because people want both, etc. There are so many things that Encore Learning does so well. We want to continue doing all those things. We want to continue to be able to do collaborative efforts with organizations on the outside that share our mission, or at least are familiar enough with our mission that they're willing to work with us. I will try to do all of those things, and I will try to be a very good president for you. So I look forward to working with all of you. Thanks so very much.
Thanks, Marilyn. It's great to have you as our incoming president. Laura's going to take a minute just to thank our volunteers.
Great. Thank you, Tom. I'm just so delighted to be joining everybody today. We have over 70 of you here with us this morning. And it's really an opportunity for me to share with you how grateful we are for all of you. Volunteers are the life, the long, and the learning of our organization. They share their vitality and continue their service through power outages, rain, and no-shows. We count on them because they care about you, the members. They volunteer because they care about you. And they want to learn, and they get to engage on a much deeper level. Our volunteers give the gift of learning to all of you. And so we are so very grateful for them. We have volunteer instructors, class aides, course developers, special event curators, editors, writers, club coordinators, committee chairs, flyer droppers, and all of our committees need more people. So please, if you're not already involved, step in. If you're on a committee, join another. It doesn't take much time. Most of our committees meet once a month, and it's a good way to connect with people. Being a class aide gives you special insights into the class and allows you to meet more people as well. So we just scrolled through over 180 names of people who volunteer. That means about a fifth of our members are volunteers right now, but we can always use more. And please message us at info@encorelearning.net if you'd like to be a volunteer. All right, back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Laura. And let me just say, Laura is our jewel. She is extremely competent, keeps us all on the right track, and she has recruited a terrific staff who are cut in her mold. So thank you, Laura, and our terrific staff, many of whom are here today. I think they all are. Elisa, Jordan, Carrie, Laura, and Patty. Thanks again. Now, as we close out the official business of the annual meeting, I just want to take a minute to thank our valued partners who make our work possible: George Mason University, Arlington 55+, Arlington Alliance of Senior Programs, Arlington Libraries, and Arlington Community Learning for their support of Encore Learning. So now is your chance to ask any questions you have for Laura and me. If they're hard questions, she'll take them. If they're easy, I'll do them.
And just to remind folks, we're going to start in just a moment with a little special workshop on keeping your brain active. So our official meeting will conclude in a moment, but stay on for a free workshop, a little add-on to the offerings. Dick, you've got a question.
It's more of a comment than a question. I hope the new board will consider returning to a printed catalog. I personally find the printed catalog much easier to navigate. And especially during the course preview, to be able to not have to look at one screen or the other. While I agree with Tom that word of mouth is our best source of new members, I've always thought that the catalog was the second best source. It was always a very attractively put together document. And it not only publicized our courses, but also our various clubs and special events. And I know it costs a little more money, but I think it's an investment that will pay off in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. You remind me of something else we've been talking about, and I'm curious, get some reaction to this if people like this idea. We found that the course previews work well with having the instructor presentations pre-recorded, and it allows us to have more than 35 people talk in under 2.5 hours. So that's been great, but people miss the in-person connection. And I'm curious if people would be interested in just coming to George Mason and watching the previews together, even though all the recordings would be pre-recorded, but you'd have a chance to socialize and watch the previews together. And if you like that idea, you can thumbs up or clap or something, and we'll have a sense of people like that idea. It's very easy to book a room at George Mason and people can be together for that. Any other questions, comments?
Laura, there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay. The calendar for the winter and spring. So the fall semester, the courses run from October to early December. And the course preview is going to be on September 7th and registration September 11th. For the winter spring semester, I don't remember the exact date of the preview, but it's early February, a Thursday. And the courses will run the first week of March till second week of May. And the Academic Programs Committee will be recruiting for those classes and instructors really beginning now until October. Is that right, Jean?
Yep, that's correct.
Great. Bill, do you have a question?
No, I was just trying to indicate my thumbs up.
All right, excellent. Thumbs up for that. Okay, good. Okay.
All right, then I guess this concludes the annual meeting of Encore Learning. But Laura, can you tell us a little bit more about our speaker and the Active Brain Workshop we'll have for the next 30 minutes? For those of you who can stay on, Kay Young, it's very interesting.
I had a question in the chat.
Oh, sorry, there's one more question. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Great.
I found it very hard to find anybody to get anybody on the phone when I was looking for where the Arlington Parks group was meeting on a particular morning. This happened on 2 occasions, and there was just no way to get anybody on the phone.
Yeah, if you're trying to reach us before 10 a.m., it might be difficult. It's good if you can have contact information for a class aide for a situation like that as well. But information about class locations are always available in the class media or on the description of the course, so that should be helpful. I do see a couple other questions here.
Yep. Sorry.
Suggest new members. If you have a suggestion for a new member, you can send it to info@encorelearning.net. You can also buy gift memberships for people. If you want to do that, you let us know their name and we'll take your credit card information and process a gift membership. Wonderful retirement gift. We are not recording all classes. We occasionally record a class if we're making up a class or some other situations, but we do not have the capacity to record all classes. We also like the freedom that we have of not having things being recorded. And becoming an instructor, please contact, you can send an email to info@encorelearning.net And we'll share that with Jean and Deb, the chairs of the Academic Programs Committee. And suggestion about going back to instructors doing their presentations in person. I think I'd like to come up with another way that people can meet instructors without having to sit through some of those previews that get to be too long. So more meet and greet opportunities, and maybe for virtual classes, looking at bringing instructors in person gatherings would be great. So we definitely are looking at that as people feel more comfortable coming back to in-person. All right. If we've missed you, feel free to contact us, and we're going to go ahead and get started with
Laura, one more question, an
Yes.
important one. Is there any geographical requirement for new members?
There is not. We have members from around the country right now because half of our courses are virtual and our Monday special events are virtual. People can participate from anywhere, and a lot of our members are traveling and are participating. So no geographic limitation. It was in our bylaws that we were the DC area for a while, but that's no longer a requirement. Just have to be over 50, but we don't check IDs.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And we look forward to reconvening in the fall. But meanwhile, volunteer. And one other thing, too, is we're able to keep our costs low by the charitable contributions of many of our members. If you are in a position to make those, please keep them coming because they help defray costs for those in our community who are not as well off as others. So thank you very much. And I look forward to rubbing elbows with all of you in the fall.